This sports betting strategy consistently makes 30% ROI every single year. Most bettors are sweating parlays and chasing bets and taking advice from some rando. But if you stick around, I'm going to show you the exact framework to be able to hit at least 30% ROI. So let's go ahead and get into exactly how I was able to scale a $2,500 bankroll up to six figures. So what it's called is true edge betting. So most people are like, what does that even mean? True edge betting. That means betting where you actually have an edge rather than what you think is a possible edge. So what does this look like? For example, I'm going to go ahead and show you guys, and I'm going to bring a couple baseball plays into the mix so that way you can kind of understand how this works. So let's go ahead and say right off the bat, let's say for the Cincinnati Reds, Spencer Steer, okay? Spencer Steer. The bet is to go under 1.5 hits, okay? His odds for that are minus 300. Now, right off the bat, people see this and they're thinking, wow, minus 300? That's just pretty much insane. I'm never going to bet something like that. But you have to understand something here that gives you an edge, okay? Minus 300, implied probability, okay? Implied probability for a minus 300 is around, I'm going to just say it's around 77%, okay? We're going to say 77% for this play right here. Now, what does that mean? That means that no matter what, this play, even if he doesn't have a good matchup or whatnot, this play has a 77% chance of hitting just right off the bat, okay, based off of his odds. But when you look deeper into his stats, for under 1.5 hits compared to who he's going against, guess what? He actually has an 83% probability of that happening. So what does that give us there? A true edge percentage of plus 6%, okay? So yeah, maybe you're scared of a minus 300 here, but it should actually be almost beyond a minus 400. So you actually have an edge just playing that. Yes, you might not make a lot of money on that bet, but you have an edge. You have a 6% edge of winning positive money on this play. So you have to be able to find plays like this. Now, the common mistake that a lot of people make is they think any play that's similar like that, a minus 300 play, yeah, I got 77% chance of hitting, so I'm just going to just randomly play those. You can't, because not every play actually has that true probability that lines up here. Okay, now I'm going to show you guys exactly a play where it has a negative edge and what you wouldn't do. Now let's go ahead and talk about a pitcher. Okay, we're going to talk about Tariq Skubal for the Tigers. All right, let's say we look at the bet is for him to go under 2.5 earned runs. And the odds for that is minus 290. All right, we're going to say it's minus 290. So implied probability there is around 75%-ish. Okay, 75%-ish. So now, what are we going to be paying attention to here when we go and dive deeper into his statistics to see what's the actual true probability of him being able to go under 2.5 in this game? So when we go and we look and we see what probability is compared for, 1, 2 seasons, whatnot, and we find that his probability for going under 2.5 earned runs is 64%. Now we run into a negative edge here. We have a negative edge of 11%. And this right here is where a lot of sports bettors will lose betting higher odds because they don't realize that there's a negative edge part to a play that is minus 200, minus 300, or whatnot. There is a negative edge with that. So what do a lot of sports bettors do that actually completely screw them up? Because sometimes they're just scared to bet any type of plays that have odds that include this. So what do sports bettors normally do? That's the common mistake amongst literally every single person. So what they do is they go and they find a bet like this. Okay, we're going to say Bobby Witt Jr. to go over 1.5 hits. Okay, you're going to find a line like that, especially for a hot hitter like this. Sometimes you're going to find over 1.5 hits. And his odds for that are going to be plus 120. Okay, so a regular sports bettor sees that and they're like, oh man, like that's a great line. I would love to bet that line. Well, The implied probability on this line is around 48%. Okay. About 48%. Now, when you go and you look up the stats, well, what is the probability that Witt Jr. is going to get me 2 hits in this game? And you find out that that overall probability actually is 42%. Now, what do we have here? We have a negative 6% edge. And sports bettors will consistently make plays like this, not knowing that they have a negative edge in that play. And then when they have a negative edge, they keep betting a negative edge. When you just keep betting negative edge consistently, your bankroll goes from here down. That is what most people don't understand. When you have a negative edge, it's going to consistently go down. When you have a positive edge and you're betting positive edge plays, your bankroll is going to steadily go up. That's the difference here, okay? This is the difference between a winning sports bettor and a losing sports bettor. This is the loser. This is the winner, okay? You have to find plays that are going to give you the edge. Now, how do you find those plays? Now, for example, let's say that's Spencer Steer play, okay? Spencer Steer. We had a positive edge on that for him to go under 1.5 hits, okay? We had a positive edge. So how do you find that? How do you come up with this analogy to be able to find that he hits an 83% mark at bat? Well, what you would have to do is first, you have to see who he's playing, okay? So check out the pitcher that he's going against. The pitcher that he's going against, if he bats at least 10 ABs and he is 1 for 10, that means he's batting 100 versus that pitcher. He's going to get at least 3 at-bats versus this pitcher, okay? If he bats 1 for 10, he's batting 100. That is no good for him, right? So what are the chances he's going to get 2 hits off a pitcher he bats 100 off? This is where you find your positive edge for this, okay? Now, let's say on the opposite end, he's going against a pitcher, okay? 10 ABs, and he is 7 for 10, batting 700 versus that pitcher, okay? Yes, his overall probability might still be here, okay? Might still be 83%, but he hits well against said pitcher. So you wouldn't be able to make that play because that, even though you have a positive edge overall, it does not make sense. You have to make the play make sense, okay? It's not just about the numbers. It's also about the matchups. The numbers are important, but the matchups are important just as much as the numbers and the probabilities. When you find this type of play right here, this is what produces the long-term plus edge. This doesn't, okay? That is how you would be able to come up with a play like that. It gives you a positive edge with a great matchup. Yes, you could have a positive edge, but not have a great matchup, and then you can get screwed because, look, the chances are he bats very well against that pitcher, gets 3 at-bats against that pitcher. He could possibly get 2 hits for sure when he's batting 700 against that pitcher. So this is just an example in baseball, using baseball as an example of how you can literally go through and find these plays on any given day through all the prop markets and be able to consistently win long term. Because now I'm going to show you guys exactly in my bet tracker how I'm able to put these all together and what the results are behind that. So this is my overall bet tracker right here that I'm showing you guys, okay? This tracker started 4 years ago, almost 4 years ago, okay? And look at the results here that I was able to achieve, all right? As you can see, 6 figures, all right? Got that up to 6 figures over time. Now, it took time, obviously, to get there, right? Most people don't stay consistent with what they're doing, and that is the reason why, okay? This is consistency over years, but that's just one thing that I want to point out with the tracker is consistency. You've got to stay consistent with doing it. But let's go ahead and fast forward to this year, okay? Let's take a look at this year. And like I said before, the strategy that I just taught you guys can produce 30% ROI on the minimum, all right? We are halfway through the year, and I'm already surpassed that. So how are you able to do that with hitting minus 300s, minus 250s, minus 350s? It's impossible, right? So many people want to say that it's impossible, that you can't do it, that it's just never going to work out because when you get one loss,
what happens there? You got to win 3 to get your money back, right? Well, what happens when you get one loss and you're winning 10 straight after? One loss, then you're winning 6. One loss, then you're winning 5. Guess what? You are adding your money up, little increments over time. All this right here, little increments that are adding up over time. Yeah, you might take a couple losses here and there. And look, even right here, maybe you lose 3 in a row. Maybe that's a little setback. But over time, adding all of these up, and then once you go on those streaks, those big win streaks, like you don't see big losing streaks like this. Okay. It's only win streaks that go through like this. Now, if we fast forward to this month, pretty much that we're currently in, look at this win streak right here. After having a little rough patch through a couple days here, look at this. This is 15 wins in a row that surpasses and makes up all that money that was lost in that time frame. So this is where people lose control, though, because they'll see that and they're like, I shouldn't have lost a minus 400 play, right? Guess what? Sometimes it could be 85%, but there's still a 15% chance that it loses. And sometimes that 15% sneaks up on you. It is what it is. You have to keep going and understand that if you have a true advantage, your true advantage is what's going to produce long-term winning, not just going out there and playing any minus 300s, minus 350s, minus 200s. That's not going to produce long-term winning. Okay. That's going to make you feel like you're winning. But guess what? Long-term, unless there's a true edge on it, you're going to lose money. So you have to find true edge plays that correlate with the higher odds. And that is what eases your mind to make you not so scared to bet these types of plays. Everybody is so scared to bet these types of plays because they think that if they lose, they're going to have such a huge setback. But when you lose one play, but you follow it up with 4 or 5 wins in a row, you've made all your money back and you've made some. Because look, right here, for example, this is just a baby win streak. You lost 1 unit there, but then you win a half here. Then you win a third here. So that's 0.8. Then you win 0.4 here. Now you're up 0.2 units. And then guess what? You win 2 after that. Now you're actually up a unit and you've recovered that one loss. This is how you win in sports betting. I cannot stress this enough to everybody. If you're trying to bet minus 110s and beat the sports book at 53, 54%, it's not going to happen. It's just not going to happen, guys. You're not going to be able to do this consistently for years. Like I just showed you guys, I've been able to do this stuff for years. Look, so I just showed you this year, which was 46 units, okay? Let's go to last year. 60 units. Double what I just promised you. Double what I just promised you that you could make, okay? 30 units on a low end is 30% ROI when you're doing 1%. And look exactly here. This was last year. That's double that. You can achieve ROIs that are unheard of in the industry of investing if you know exactly what you're doing and you're not gambling all your money away on stupid bets that have negative edge. Because when you have a negative edge, guess what? You are going to have a negative bank account. That's the way that it goes. Betting negative edge gets you a negative bank account. And like I showed you guys, I've been able to do this year after year after year. This can't be made up. Okay. I can't just pull these out of a hat. This is years of doing this stuff. And it takes practice and it takes the right strategy in place to learn how to do that. But what I just showed you guys was just a little taste of what you could do in one sector of a player prop to be able to give yourself that edge.
So what I just showed you guys is the key to winning sports betting long term. If you follow the exact strategy that I just showed you and you adapt that to every single sport and every single player prop, you will give yourself an edge. You just have to have the right strategy and you got to know exactly what to look for. If you want to bypass all of that stuff and you want me to teach you exactly what to look for in every player prop sector and every sport, all you got to do is click the link in the description. And I will show you exactly how you can take a $2,500, $5,000 bankroll and transition that into 5, 6 figures because I did it with multiple people. So all you got to do is click the link down in the description. As always, guys, I'm Frank with Linemaker Sports. I'll see you guys in the next video. Till then, I'm out.